Usually 9 a.m. on Mondays, we're joined by Neil Walker. And when we are joined by Neil Walker, he's brought to you by Rhino Shield. Never paint again. But there is no Neil Walker today. Why? He's at Pebble Beach.
Oh, makes sense. It's Neil Walker, Pebble Beach. Of course he is.
I want to rip him, but he's too nice a guy.
Yeah.
He said, can we do later on in the week? I'll be on vacation. I said, oh, sure, man. No problem. Where are you going? Pebble Beach. Oh, wow. Nice humble brag. He said he'd never played there before. Pebble Beach.
Unbelievable.
Would you rather golf Pebble Beach or Augusta if you could only do one?
Oh, man. Pebble Beach.
I think I would agree.
Yeah, it's at the beach.
Yeah, there's pebbles.
Yeah, there's Pebble.
Things of that nature. Instead of Neil Walker, we are joined right now by Mark Kaboly. He is kind enough to be with us here as we kind of shift our schedule on the fly. OTA's beginning tomorrow for the Pittsburgh Steelers. How are you, Mark? Thanks for jumping on, man.
Good. I think you have glossed over everything. Neil Walker going on vacation. Hasn't he been on vacation for 10 years now? I want to be Neil Walker.
No one is living a better life than that guy.
He earned it.
He did earn it. And I think he's made over $40 million in his career playing baseball, and now he's a wonderful commentator. And in the middle of the season, he could just say, you know what? I'm so good. You'll have my spot for me when I come back. I'm just going to go golf Pebble Beach.
Yep.
It would be awesome, actually. Sorry to program on the fly, Mark, and to take time away from your segment. We should see if he'd want to do a video call. Just take 10 minutes out of his day while he's at Pebble Beach to do a segment.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
You know what's kind of weird?
Tell me.
Did you know how much money he's made in his career without looking it up?
But that's what I bring. I know stupid stuff. I don't know, like, smart people things, but I know stats and crap like that. I also know that Najee Harris played 53% of the snaps last year and Jaylen Warren played 49% of the snaps. Do you think the dynamic may well change this year, Mark, because of the contract status? Okay.
Absolutely not. I think it will be the same. They found a something that worked last year and it be able to preserve both of them. They don't really care about nothing more than past this year. So if you're able to get both those guys healthy and playing at their best through an entire season, especially late in this season, that's the goal. The goal isn't about 2025 or anything beyond that. I think they found it. I think it might even be closer this year. I mean, if you go 50-50 split, hey, that's great.
Mark, it's your favorite time of the year. OTAs are starting tomorrow. I know you can't wait to get out there in the heat. It's going to be like 85 degrees. You're going to be sweating your you-know-what off. But when I think of OTAs, I think of new additions. I think of rookies. And, we could go through each position and say, Mark, what are you going to be looking for? And, when I look at the different positions and I think of safety, it's weird. Like, the first thing that came to my mind when I was going to ask you this question was like, what would I be looking for tomorrow to see who fits well and see who moves around well? And I was thinking about safety and Deshaun Elliott. What do you think? What are you looking for tomorrow? What are you expecting out of OTA practice that starts on Tuesday?
I wouldn't really read too much into where they're positioned at, as in depth chart wise, who's running with the ones. I look at more of where they're at, where they line up, who's in the slot, where does Cordero Patterson fit in at, stuff to that nature. I like to really look and observe interactions between the players and see how this offense really just gravitates or not to Russell Wilson, just to see that dynamic. I mean, and also Arthur Smith, see is there anything really noticeable with the offense? Obviously there's going to be something. It's early in training camp, so they're obviously not going to be installing everything to this early degree, but everything I've heard, and I talked to somebody the other day that told me they are absolutely excited about what you're going to see from Arthur Smith's offense. They're like, you're going to be very, very happy with what you see. So right there, it piques my interest a little bit right there to see how much of a difference it is. So that's the stuff I look at.
How about wide receiver, Mark? So you're talking about Arthur Smith's offense, a new quarterback obviously throwing the football. Who's the first guy that lines up on the outside opposite George Pickens? And does that matter at this point?
I see typically it's not going to. He'll probably just go, how long you've been in the league or how long you've been with the team. So I can see guys like Van Jefferson being in there. I can see guys like Calvin Austin in there. I don't know if Roman Wilson's going to trot out there with the number ones. Like, once again, I don't think that matters at this point right now. You just try to get them acclimated and with the system and how to practice, like, I guess how they go through their practice right now. I mean, like, the interesting stuff is obviously where does a guy like Fotanu and Broderick Jones line up at? That will obviously tell you right away what their initial thinking is. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to be through all of OTAs or into training camp. That just means what their initial thought might be. So I can see more or less. But, on the flip side of that, what do you do with Zach Frazier? What do you do with Fotanu? Do you just throw him out there at ones? Then that really, really hammers it home where you believe those guys are. Are you really going to throw Nate Herbig out there starting one centers? That's probably going to be the interesting part.
Cam Heyward is sitting out OTAs. Thoughts?
Smart man, right? He wasn't going to
exactly
participate anyways, right?
Right.
I mean, first of all, if you know what OTAs are, and obviously you do, you're just going to be working out a little bit. The only thing you're potentially missing is the camaraderie, the leadership you can get from him being in the building. It's probably hurting him more mentally sitting out and not being with his teammates, because he wasn't going to participate. Back in February, Omar Khan said we have to be very, very careful with this guy, just for the fact that he's 35, coming off an injury, and you want him to be healthy week one. You don't really care about March or May right now. So that's the only thing, really. It's probably killing him to stay out, but he wasn't going to participate much. I remember more than a couple years now, James Harrison used to come in. He used to lift a little bit, and he was out the door before they were even on the field. And I think that worked out pretty well.
Mark Kaboly joining us from The Athletic, our Steelers insider. 2025 opening day, Cam Heyward a Steeler?
Yeah, 2025. Yeah, absolutely. He still plays at an extremely high level. I think you just look at last year, it was an injury, right? Obviously, people get hurt. He tried to play through it. It was probably not in his best interest, but he did it, and he struggled because he uses his power game to his advantage, and he wasn't able to get a lot of leverage. And you saw that initially. I mean, this is a guy that got hurt like the first day of training camp, so he was never 100% healthy. I mean, I think with Cam is we don't really appreciate what he does very much. We're talking about a 35-year-old man playing defensive line, the oldest defensive lineman in the league, and he still plays at this level. Just because he got dinged up a little bit, all of a sudden we're going to throw him out? I don't think so. I mean, this is a guy that, $18 million. If you're giving him $18 million and he's still a above average, a very, very good defensive lineman, that's cheap nowadays. So I can see him getting a couple-year extension onto this. If it's 2 for $30 or whatever it is, I can see this happening. I don't know how much he wants now. That's the key. But I think they'll come to an agreement.
Mark, you wrote in The Athletic that people are singing the praises of Russell Wilson and what he's done so far in offseason activities and getting along with his teammates. That was the knock on him in Denver. That was a knock on him in Seattle, that he would wear out his welcome with his teammates, and particularly his defensive teammates. But it seems like this ship is pointed forward with that right now.
Yeah, it seems like it. Everybody loves him. And, until he throws 4 interceptions and loses a game, right? Then all of a sudden things change real quickly, too. I mean, Kenny Pickett was the star of – everybody loved him in training camp. Then all of a sudden he struggles in the regular season and everybody's looking around, right? So he's still going to have to be able to perform. But for him to come into a different organization and to put this much effort into just knowing guys and trying to get him to buy into him and the offense, I mean, that's half the battle right now. You still assume that he's still an above average quarterback. So I think that will take care of itself. I think the key is the leadership they've been missing there. And it's hard for a rookie first, second, a 5-year guy like Mason Rudolph, a second-year guy like Kenny Pickett to be a true leader. We're talking about a guy who got a pretty good resume, so they should be able to listen to him. So I don't know. I mean, is it half phony, half – I don't know. I guess we'll find that out. Even if it is, who cares if it's phony, as long as they believe it, right?
Mark, I know that you talked to Crowley last week about this, but I want to get your thoughts because I was out. The gauntlet of the schedule Like, I mean, November 17th is the first time they face a divisional opponent for, I think, the first time since 1970 or something crazy like that. There's not a walkthrough type game really on their schedule. What's your thoughts on the schedule?
Well, obviously, a schedule can change by, somebody gets hurt, but what's not going to change is 6 divisional opponents in 8 weeks. What's not going to change is 3 games in 10 days. Even if the Eagles stink and for some reason the Chiefs, the Chiefs weren't really dominant last year during the regular season, but they're still a Super Bowl defending champion here, won 3 now. So it's a tough ass late in the season. But on the flip side of that, they tend to play extremely well late in the season, so it might turn out to their advantage. It's just hard to be able to determine now. I mean, what hurts now is the division games, like I said, the quick turnaround of some of these games, and having like the schedule just so out of whack. And more than anybody, Doran, if you're in the NFL, you want to have routine. There's nothing routine about the end of the schedule where you're going Wednesdays, Saturdays, Thursdays, division games. I mean, there's no routine there. And that's probably more to worry about than anything else.
Mark, we appreciate your time, buddy. Thank you for jumping on.
All right. I did not make $40 million over my career.
Yeah, neither did Neil. He made 52. So I was wrong. And someone on the text line told me I was wrong. Thank you, Mark.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks,
see you,
Mark.
buddy.